Most drivers think making a car last over 600,000 miles starts with expensive maintenance. But that is not always true. Sometimes the habits that save your car start with things you can check in minutes. A dirty battery terminal, low tire pressure, a clogged air filter, a dirty MAF sensor, a weak ground cable, a small leak under the hood. These little things can make a car feel weak, rough, lazy, and older than it really is. And if you ignore them long enough, they can slowly damage the engine, transmission, fuel system, cooling system, brakes, and electrical system. That is why some cars barely survive 150,000 miles. Some reach 300,000. Some cross 500,000, and a few, when cared for the right way, can keep going past 600,000 miles. Not because they are perfect, not because they never break, but because the owner follows the right habits before damage starts. So in this video, I will show you 19 proven habits that can help your car last over 600,000 miles. We will get to oil and transmission service too. But first, let's start with the easy wins. The things many drivers can check today. The things that can make your car start better, drive smoother, idle cleaner, steer better, and feel less tired. Let's go step by step. Habit number 19. Clean the battery terminals and ground cables. This is one of the easiest habits on the list, but it can fix problems that feel much bigger than they really are. A weak battery connection can make a good car act broken. You may notice slow starts, flickering lights, random warning lights, hard starting, weak charging, sensor codes, or electrical problems that come and go. And many drivers start replacing parts, battery, alternator, starter, sensors, even modules. But sometimes the real problem is much simpler: corroded battery terminals, loose clamps, or a weak ground cable. Your car depends on stable voltage. The engine computer needs it. The transmission module needs it. The ABS system needs it. The starter needs it. The alternator needs it. So if the power connection is weak, the whole car can act confused. Here is the habit. Every few months, open the hood and look at the battery terminals. Check for white, green, or blue crust around the clamps. Check if the terminals are loose. Check if the ground cable is frayed, rusty, or loose where it connects to the body or engine. If you see corrosion, clean it properly. If you are not comfortable working around a battery, have someone experienced do it. A clean connection can mean stronger starts, better voltage, fewer electrical glitches, and less stress on the alternator. This habit is simple, it is cheap, and it can make the car feel more reliable quickly. Because before you blame the computer, make sure the car is getting clean power. Habit number 18. Check tire pressure and uneven wear. This one sounds basic, but it affects how the car feels every single mile. Low tire pressure can make the car feel heavy. It can make steering feel lazy. It can reduce fuel economy. It can make tires run hotter. It can wear out the tire edges. And it can stress suspension parts over time. Too much pressure is not good either. The ride can feel harsh. The tire may wear in the center. And the car may lose some grip. So here is the simple rule. Check tire pressure regularly. Use the pressure listed on the driver door sticker, not the maximum number written on the tire sidewall. That sidewall number is usually the maximum pressure, not the recommended pressure for your car. Also, look at the tire wear. If one edge is wearing faster, you may have an alignment problem. If the tire is cupping, you may have worn shocks, struts, or suspension parts. If the steering wheel shakes at highway speed, you may need balancing. If the car pulls left or right, do not ignore it. A tire pressure check can make the car feel smoother. An alignment can save your tires, and healthy tires protect the suspension, brakes, steering, and fuel economy. A car that lasts 600,000 miles needs a healthy foundation, and that foundation starts where the car touches the road. Habit number 17. Replace the air filter and clean the MAF sensor. Your engine is basically an air pump. It needs clean air, it needs the right amount of air, and it needs the computer to measure that air correctly. That is where the air filter and mass airflow sensor come in. The air filter keeps dirt out. The MAF sensor tells the computer how much air is entering the engine. If the air filter is clogged, the engine may feel weak. Fuel economy may drop, throttle response may feel dull, and the MAF sensor can get dirty faster. If the MAF sensor is dirty, the computer may calculate the wrong fuel amount. Too much fuel, not enough fuel, rough idle. hesitation, poor MPG, or a check engine light. Before replacing expensive sensors, start with the simple things. Check the air filter. If it is dirty, replace it. Inspect the intake tube. If it is cracked or loose, that can cause wrong air readings. Then, if the MAF sensor is dirty, clean it with proper MAF sensor cleaner, not brake cleaner, not carb cleaner, and do not touch the tiny sensor wires. Let it dry completely before reinstalling. Then start the car and let it idle for a few minutes. After that, drive normally so the computer can relearn airflow. If the problem was dirty airflow, the improvement can feel quick. Smoother idle, cleaner acceleration, better throttle response, and sometimes better fuel economy. Habit number 16. Clean the throttle body and do an idle relearn. A dirty throttle body can make a car feel worse than it really is. You press the gas and the car responds late. The idle jumps up and down. The engine shakes at stoplights. The car almost stalls, or the throttle feels sticky and lazy. Many drivers think the throttle body is bad, but sometimes it is just dirty. Over time, carbon buildup collects around the throttle plate. That buildup changes how air enters the engine at idle. The computer tries to adjust around it. Then the idle memory becomes built around a dirty throttle body. Here is the habit. Inspect and clean the throttle body when needed. Use the correct cleaner. Be gentle. Do not force electronic throttle plates if you do not know the proper method for your vehicle. If you are not comfortable, let a mechanic do it. After cleaning, the car may need an idle relearn. That means the computer has to learn how much air the engine needs when your foot is off the gas. Start the car. Turn off accessories. Let it idle. Then turn on loads like AC and headlights. Let it stabilize again. Then drive gently. Some cars relearn automatically. Some need a specific procedure. Some need a scan tool. But when it works, the car can feel completely different. The idle can become smoother. The throttle can feel sharper, and takeoff can feel cleaner. Habit number 15. Use good fuel and clean the injector smartly. You do not need race fuel, and you do not need premium fuel unless your car requires it. But you do need clean fuel. Your fuel injectors need to spray a fine mist, not a weak stream, not a dirty drip, not an uneven pattern. When injectors get dirty, the engine can run rough. Fuel economy drops. Cold starts get worse. Idle becomes unstable. Misfires can appear. And the catalytic converter can be stressed by poor combustion. Here is the habit. Use fuel from trusted stations. Avoid stations that look poorly maintained or do not sell much fuel. If possible, use high-quality fuel with good detergents. And occasionally, use a quality fuel system cleaner that is designed for injector deposits. Do not overuse additives. Use them based on the directions. If your car has a serviceable fuel filter, replace it on schedule. A clean fuel system helps the engine burn fuel properly. It can improve smoothness, help throttle response, reduce hesitation, and protect the fuel pump, injectors, oxygen sensors, and catalytic converter. A dirty fuel system rarely kills the engine in one day. It slowly steals power, fuel economy, and reliability. Habit number 14. Never run below a quarter tank. This habit costs nothing, but it can protect your fuel pump. Many drivers wait until the fuel light comes on before filling up. They think it does not matter, but in many cars, the fuel pump lives inside the fuel tank. Fuel helps cool the pump. Fuel helps lubricate the pump. And when you constantly drive with very low fuel, the pump can run hotter. It may also pick up more sediment from the bottom of the tank. Over time, that can shorten pump life. A weak fuel pump can cause hard starting, sputtering, power loss, hesitation under load, stalling, or a no-start condition. And replacing a fuel pump is not always cheap. Here's the rule. Try to keep the tank above 1/4, especially in hot weather, especially on long trips, especially if the fuel pump is old. You are not buying more fuel. You are just filling up earlier. That small habit can help the pump stay cooler, cleaner, and healthier. Habit number 13. Stop topping off after the pump clicks. When the gas pump clicks off, stop fueling. Do not squeeze in more. Do not round up to the next dollar. Do not keep clicking the pump to fill the tank to the top. That small habit can damage the EVAP system. Your car has an emissions system that captures fuel vapors. One key part is the charcoal canister. It is designed for vapor, not liquid fuel. When you overfill the tank, liquid fuel can enter the EVAP system. That can soak the charcoal canister. Then you may get fuel smell, hard starts after refueling, check engine light, EVAP codes, and annoying repairs that could have been avoided. Here is the rule. When the pump clicks, stop. That is it. Do not top off. This habit takes no extra time. It costs nothing, and it protects a system many drivers do not think about until the check engine light appears. Habit number 12. Respect the first 5 minutes after a cold start. The first few minutes after startup are some of the most important minutes of the day for your engine. When the engine is cold, the oil is thicker. It has not fully reached every part yet. Metal parts have not fully expanded. The transmission fluid may still be cold, and the engine may run richer than normal. This is why cold abuse is so damaging. Hard acceleration right after startup is a bad habit. High RPM right after startup is a bad habit. Flooring the gas before the engine warms up is a bad habit, but letting the car idle forever is not the best answer either. For most modern cars, the smart habit is simple. Start the engine. Give it a short moment to stabilize. Then drive gently. No hard acceleration, no high RPM, no heavy load, no aggressive throttle. Let the engine warm up while driving lightly. This helps the oil circulate. It helps the transmission warm up. It helps the catalytic converter reach temperature. And it avoids unnecessary fuel wash from long cold idling. If your car has a turbo, this habit matters even more. Respect the first 5 minutes, and your engine will thank you for years. Habit number 11. Use the parking brake before shifting into park. This one takes 3 seconds, but it can protect the transmission for years. Many drivers park on a hill, shift into park, release the brake, and let the full weight of the car rest on the parking pawl. The parking pawl is a small locking part inside the transmission. It is not designed to carry the full weight of the car every day on an incline. That is why some cars make a loud clunk when shifting out of park on a hill. Here is the smarter routine. Stop the car, keep your foot on the brake, set the parking brake, let the vehicle settle on the parking brake, then shift into park. When leaving, press the brake. Shift out of park, then release the parking brake. This transfers the vehicle weight to the brake system instead of loading the transmission. It is a better habit, but high-mileage cars survive because their owners avoid unnecessary stress. Habit number 10. Replace the PCV valve before it causes oil problems. The PCV valve is small, but it can create big problems. It controls pressure inside the engine. When it works properly, it sends crankcase vapors back into the intake so the engine can burn them. But when the PCV valve gets stuck, clogged, or fails, pressure can build inside the engine. That pressure can push oil past seals. It can create oil leaks. It can increase oil consumption, it can cause rough idle, it can add sludge, and it can make the engine feel unhealthy. The frustrating part is this. A bad PCV valve does not always trigger a warning light. You may just notice oil disappearing, a rough idle, smoke, a vacuum noise, oil around gaskets, or new leaks that seem to come from nowhere. Here is the habit. If your car has a serviceable PCV valve, replace it on schedule. Many are inexpensive. Some are easy to access. Also, inspect the PCV hose. If it is cracked, collapsed, or loose, it can create vacuum leaks and rough running. This is not a glamorous habit, but it is a high-mileage habit because pressure problems inside the engine can turn into leaks, oil burning, and expensive gasket repairs. Habit number 9. Do the engine mount death test. Your engine should not jump around like it is trying to escape the car. Engine mounts hold the engine in place. They absorb vibration. They keep the drivetrain aligned, and they help the car feel smooth. When mounts wear out, the symptoms can fool you. Vibration at idle, a clunk when shifting into drive, a thump when accelerating, a shake through the steering wheel, or a roughness that makes the whole car feel old. But the issue may simply be worn engine mounts, and if you ignore them, the stress can spread. Bad mounts can strain exhaust flex pipes, hoses, axles, wiring, and even transmission components. Here is a simple warning check. With the car parked safely, start the engine. Keep your foot firmly on the brake. Shift from park to drive, then from drive to reverse. Do not rev aggressively, just feel and observe. If the engine moves excessively or you feel a hard clunk, the mounts may be worn. A proper inspection is still needed, but this gives you a clue. Replacing mounts early can restore smoothness, reduce vibration, and protect the drivetrain. Habit number 8. Fix small leaks before they become big repairs. A small leak is not small. It is an early warning. A few drops of oil, a little coolant smell, a damp valve cover, a wet hose, a slow transmission fluid leak, a power steering leak, a tiny brake fluid leak. Many drivers ignore leaks because the car still runs. But leaks almost never fix themselves. They spread, they get worse, they lower fluid levels, they damage nearby parts, and eventually they cause bigger failures. A small coolant leak can become overheating. A small oil leak can become low oil level. A transmission leak can become slipping. A brake fluid leak can become dangerous. A power steering leak can damage the pump. Here is the habit. Look under the car. Check the driveway. Open the hood. Look for wet spots. Look for crusty coolant residue. Look for oil around gaskets. Smell for burning oil or coolant. Check fluid levels. If something is dropping, find out why. Do not just keep topping it off forever. Topping off is not fixing. It is delaying. The longest-lasting cars survive because their owners fix leaks while they are still small. Habit number 7. Flush brake fluid before it becomes dangerous. Brake fluid is one of the most forgotten fluids in a car because the brakes may still feel fine, the pedal may feel normal, and there may be no warning light. But brake fluid absorbs moisture over time. That moisture can corrode brake lines, damage calipers, affect ABS components, and lower the boiling point of the fluid. That means during hard braking, mountain driving, heavy traffic, or emergency stops, old brake fluid can become dangerous. It can create a soft pedal, weak braking, or expensive brake system repairs. Here is the rule. Flush brake fluid every 2 to 3 years or follow the correct interval for your vehicle. Use the exact type your car requires, DOT3, DOT4, DOT 5.1. Do not guess. Do not mix the wrong fluid. Also check caliper slider pins, brake hoses, and uneven pad wear. A sticking caliper can destroy pads and rotors. A soft hose can create braking problems. And old brake fluid can turn a simple service into a much bigger repair. A car cannot reach 600,000 miles if it can't stop safely. Habit number 6. Protect the cooling system before it overheats. Overheating can kill an engine fast. One serious overheating event can damage the head gasket, warp the cylinder head, break down oil, damage seals, and shorten engine life dramatically. The scary part is this. Cooling system failure usually starts quietly. Coolant gets old, additives wear out, corrosion begins. The thermostat gets weak, hoses soften, the radiator cap loses pressure, the water pump starts leaking, the cooling fan stops working, and then, one hot day, the temperature gauge rises. If the driver keeps going, the engine may pay the price. Here is the habit. Do not wait for overheating. Replace coolant on schedule. For many cars, every 3 to 5 years is a smart habit. Use the correct coolant type. Do not mix random coolant colors. Do not pour in universal coolant unless you know it is correct for your vehicle. Inspect hoses. Check the radiator cap. Watch for coolant smell. Look for crusty residue near hoses, radiator seams, water pump, and thermostat housing. And if you are already servicing the cooling system, consider replacing the thermostat too, especially if it is old or questionable. It is a small part, but if it sticks closed, the engine can overheat quickly. Habit number 5. Service the transmission before it acts up. Transmission problems feel expensive because they usually are, and the biggest mistake is waiting until the transmission starts slipping. By then, damage may already be inside. Transmission fluid does more than lubricate. It controls heat, applies clutches, moves hydraulic pressure, protects seals, and helps the transmission shift smoothly. But transmission fluid breaks down. It gets hot. It oxidizes. It collects clutch material. It loses protection. And once it gets old, the transmission may start shifting rough, hesitating, slipping, banging into gear, or delaying when shifting into drive or reverse. Here is the habit. Do not believe fluid is good forever. For many vehicles, a drain and fill around every 30,000 to 60,000 miles is a much safer habit than waiting for symptoms. If you tow, drive in hot weather, do delivery work, sit in traffic, or own a CVT, be even more careful. Use the exact fluid your car requires, not random universal fluid, not whatever is cheapest. And if the transmission has been neglected for a long time, be careful with aggressive power flushes. A gentle drain and fill is often safer. Fresh fluid is cheaper than a rebuild. If you want a 600,000-mile car, protect the transmission before it complains. Habit number 4. Know your timing belt or timing chain deadline. This habit can save an engine. If your car has a timing belt, you cannot ignore it. The timing belt keeps the crankshaft and camshaft synchronized. If it breaks, the pistons and valves can collide in many interference engines, and when that happens, the engine can be destroyed in seconds. No slow warning, no obvious countdown, no second chance, just one snap, and the repair bill can become painful. Here is the habit. Find out whether your engine uses a timing belt or a timing chain. Do not guess. Look it up. Ask a trusted mechanic. Check the service information. If your car uses a timing belt, replace it before the deadline. Not after, not when it starts making noise, because timing belts often fail silently. Many timing belts need replacement around 60,000 to 100,000 miles, depending on the vehicle. Age matters too. A low mileage old belt can still crack, dry out, and fail. When replacing the belt, do not cheap out. Replace the tensioner, idler pulley, and often the water pump if it is driven by the belt. If your car uses a timing chain, do not ignore oil changes. Timing chains depend on clean oil. Dirty oil can wear the chain, guides, and tensioner. Know what your engine uses. Service it before it fails, because timing failure does not just stop the car, it can destroy the engine. Habit number 3. The 5K oil survival rule. If you want your car to last over 600,000 miles, oil is still the king. Nothing protects the engine more often, more directly, and more consistently than clean oil. Engine oil protects bearings, timing chains, camshafts, pistons, VT parts, turbochargers if your car has one, and every cold start the engine goes through. But oil does not last forever. It gets dirty. It gets contaminated. It breaks down from heat. It collects fuel dilution, moisture, carbon, and tiny metal particles. And once it loses protection, engine wear speeds up. The manual may allow longer intervals, but real-world driving is not always ideal. Short trips, hot weather, heavy traffic, long idling, dust, cold starts, stop-and-go driving. These conditions break oil down faster. So here is the high mileage rule. For many drivers, around every 5,000 miles is a safer target than stretching oil too long. If you drive mostly short trips, hot weather, traffic, or lots of idling, go shorter. Use the correct oil grade, use a quality oil filter, and check oil level between changes, because low oil can destroy an engine, and dirty oil can age it quietly. First, the engine gets noisier, then sludge forms, then timing components wear, then oil passages clog. Then one day, the engine starts burning oil, rattling, or knocking, and by then it may be too late. If 600,000 miles is the goal, oil maintenance cannot be casual. It has to be serious. Habit number 2. Fight rust before it wins. Rust can end a car even when the engine still runs perfectly. This is one of the most frustrating ways to lose a vehicle. The engine is fine. The transmission still works. The car still starts, but the frame, floor, brake lines, fuel lines, rocker panels, or suspension mounts are rotting away. At that point, the repair may cost more than the car is worth. If you live where roads are salted, or near coastal air, or in wet, muddy areas, rust prevention is not optional. Here is the habit. Wash the undercarriage regularly, especially in winter. Remove salt, mud, and road grime. Keep drain holes clear. Fix paint chips early. Do not let wet leaves and dirt sit inside body gaps. Inspect under the car. Look at brake lines, fuel lines, frame rails, suspension mounts, wheel wells, and rocker panels. Use rust protection when appropriate, but be careful with rubberized coatings on older rusty cars because if applied badly, they can trap moisture and make rust worse. Rust is slow, but once it spreads, it becomes expensive. A car cannot reach 600,000 miles if the structure disappears before the engine gives up. Protect the body, and you protect the future of the car. Habit number 1. Keep a maintenance log and never let small problems become normal. Most people maintain their car from memory. That is why they forget. They forget when the oil was changed. They forget which transmission fluid was used. They forget when the coolant was flushed. They forget when spark plugs were replaced. They forget when the battery was installed. They forget what code appeared last year. They forget when the noise started. They forget which leak came first. And when the car starts acting up, there is no history, no pattern, no timeline, no clue. A high-mileage car needs records. It can be a notebook, a phone note, a spreadsheet, or a folder of receipts. Write down the date, mileage, service, fluid type, part brand, symptoms, codes, and what fixed the problem. This does two powerful things. First, it keeps you ahead of maintenance. Second, it helps you catch patterns early. If coolant keeps dropping, you know. If the same code returns, you know. If the same tire keeps wearing, you know. If oil consumption changes, you know. If a vibration gets worse, you know. And here is the final rule. Do not let small problems become normal. A little rough idle, a little hard shift, a little coolant loss, a small oil leak, a light clunk, a slight vibration, a warning light that has been on for months. This is how cars die. Not all at once, but slowly, because the owner accepts damage as normal. If you want your car to last over 600,000 miles, you need to act before the breakdown. Clean battery terminals, check tire pressure, replace air filters, clean the MAF sensor, clean the throttle body, use good fuel, keep fuel above a quarter tank. Stop topping off after the pump clicks. Drive gently when cold. Use the parking brake correctly. Replace the PCV valve. Check engine mounts. Fix leaks early. Flush brake fluid. Protect the cooling system. Service the transmission. Know your timing belt deadline. Change oil like the engine matters. Fight rust. And keep records like the car is worth saving, because high mileage is not luck. It is not one secret trick. It is the result of small habits repeated for years. Most cars could last longer than their owners allow them to. So if your goal is 600,000 miles, start with the habits today. Because the car you protect now is the car that may still be running long after everyone else gave up on theirs.